So I've recently taken out my sourdough starter out of its slumber and I've been baking bread again. So I thought we'd make a loaf together today. I fed my starter first thing in the morning, and as you can see, it's nice and perky and happy. Now if you don't have a sourdough starter but you'd like to make one, I have a video that I'm gonna link up where I'm gonna show you how to make one step by step. I'm gonna start by pouring 175 ml of cold water into my mixing bowl, into which I'm gonna scoop out 150 grams of the sourdough starter. I'm just gonna quickly mix that into the water before adding 310 grams of all-purpose flour. I'm also gonna add 10 grams of salt, and a lot of people add the salt at a later point once the dough has come together, but in my experience it's never been a problem adding it together with everything else. I'm gonna grab the spatula again and I'm gonna start mixing everything together. Once a shaggy bowl starts forming, I'm gonna drop the spatula and I'm gonna switch to my hands. And yes, this dough is gonna be on the wet side. I'm just gonna keep mixing it like that into the bowl until I end up with a homogeneous mass. Now at this point, don't try to make it smooth. Our goal here is just to hydrate the flour. I'm gonna cover it with cling film. I'm gonna let it sit like this for half an hour, and when we come back, you'll see how much it will have changed. Okay, so it's been half an hour and you can see how the dough has changed. It's become smooth, which means that gluten has started forming. I'm gonna stretch and fold it like that in on itself, and I'm doing this to strengthen the gluten. I'll keep doing a few of these folds over half-half periods, which I don't think it's necessary for you to see, but we'll be back when it's time to shape the loaf. Okay, it's been a couple of hours and I've done 4 of these folds. Now I'm gonna shape the loaf and I'm gonna transfer it in one of these bread baskets. That's also called a banneton, which I've lined generously with rice flour. I'm gonna take the dough out of the bowl, plop it on the board upside down, and I'm gonna stretch it out into a loosely rectangular shape. Then I'm gonna grab the top, fold that in, grab the bottom, fold that on top, and then just roll the whole thing into a loaf. Then I'm gonna transfer it into the bread basket with the seam side up, and I'm gonna pinch the seams together. I'm gonna put it into a plastic bag and I'm gonna let it start proofing like that on the counter for half an hour to an hour. Then I'm gonna throw it in the fridge to let it slowly cold ferment overnight. So I'm gonna see you tomorrow. Good morning. It's the next day and I'm gonna bake me some bread. As you can see, the loaf has filled out the banneton. It is proofed nicely and it passes the poke test. What is the poke test? Well, when you poke the dough, you want it to spring back a little bit, but not all the way. If it springs back all the way, then it's underproofed. If it doesn't spring back at all, then it's overproofed. Okay, so I'm gonna gently invert it onto a piece of parchment paper. Remember, we put it in upside down, so now that we inverted it, it's the right side up. Then using a razor, I'm gonna give it a quick confident slash at about 45-degree angle. That's gonna prevent it from cracking when it puffs up in the oven. Okay, that's ready to go. I'm just gonna move it out of the way so that I can make room for this Dutch oven that's been preheating in the oven. Then I'm gonna gently lift the loaf and place it inside. And be careful with your fingers because this is blazing hot. I'm just gonna give it a quick misting with water. That's gonna create extra steam. Okay, now I can put the lid on and throw this in the oven, which has been preheating. I'm gonna bake it like that with the lid on for about 20 minutes at 230 degrees Celsius. Then I'm gonna take it out, take the lid off, and I'm gonna put it back in for about 20-ish minutes, turning down the temperature slightly to 220. I'm gonna very carefully fish it out of here. Now it's time to give it the old tap tap test. If it sounds hollow, then it's cooked through. Now, believe it or not, but what's coming up next is probably the hardest part of the process, but we need to let this thing rest a good half an hour. That being said, you shouldn't wait for too long. You still want it warm so it can do this to the butter. By the way, have you seen a prettier bread knife? I don't think so. The discount code is down in the description. And if you ask me, this is the only right move here. crusty, it's chewy, it's a little tangy, and it makes the whole house smell amazing. There's nothing quite like baking your own bread at home. People have been making sourdough bread for thousands of years, and you can almost feel it. When you smell it baking, it feels good deep down in your bones. So go wake up your sourdough starter and bake some bread. Roll out!